Majestic 12 or MJ-12 Reference Report. The National Archives has received many requests for documentation and information about Project MJ-12. Many of the inquiries concern a memorandum from Robert Cutler to General Nathan Twining, dated July 14, 1954. This particular document poses problems for the following reasons. 1. The document was located in Record Group 341, Entry 267. The series is filed by a top-secret register number. This document does not bear such a number. 2. The document is filed in the folder T4 to 1846. There are no other documents in the folder regarding NSC/MJ-12. 3. Researchers on the staff of the National Archives have searched the records of the Secretary of Defense, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Headquarters U.S. Air Force, and other related files. No further information has been found in this subject. 4. Inquiries to the U.S. Air Force, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and the National Security Council failed to produce further information. 5. The Freedom of Information Office of the National Security Council informed the National Archives that top-secret restricted information is a marking that did not come into use at the National Security Council until the Nixon administration. The Eisenhower Presidential Library also confirms that this particular marking was not used during the Eisenhower administration. 6. The document in question does not bear an official government letterhead or watermark. The NARA conservation specialist examined the paper and determined it was a ribbon copy prepared in Dixon onionskin. The Eisenhower Library has examined a representative sample of the documents in its collection of the Cutler papers. All documents in the sample created by Mr. Cutler, while he served in the NSC staff, have an eagle watermark in the bond paper. The onionskin carbon copies have either an eagle watermark or no watermark at all. Most documents sent out by the NSC were prepared in White House letterhead paper. For the brief period when Mr. Cutler left the NSC, his carbon copies were prepared in prestige onionskin. 7. The National Archives searched the official meeting minute files of the National Security Council and found no record of an NSC meeting on July 16, 1954. A search of all NSC meeting minutes for July 1954 found no mention of MJ-12 nor Majestic. 8. The Judicial, Fiscal, and Social Branch searched the indices of the NSC records and found no listing for MJ-12, Majestic, unidentified flying objects, UFO, flying saucers, or flying discs. 9. Magis found a memo in a folder titled Special Meeting July 16, 1956, which indicated that NSC members would be called to a civil defense exercise on July 16, 1956. 10. The Eisenhower Library states, in a letter to the Military Reference Branch, dated July 16, 1987, President Eisenhower's appointment books contain no entry for a special meeting on July 16, 1954, which might have included a briefing on MJ-12. Even when the President had off-the-record meetings, the appointment books contain entries indicating the time of the meeting and the participants. The Declassification Office of the National Security Council has informed us that it has no record of any declassification action having been taken on this memorandum or any other documents in this alleged project. Robert Cutler, at the direction of President Eisenhower, was visiting overseas military installations in the day he supposedly issued this memorandum, July 14, 1954. The administration series in Eisenhower's papers, as President, contains Cutler's memorandum and report to the President upon his return from the trip. The memorandum is dated July 20, 1954. And refers to Cutler's visits to installations in Europe and North Africa between July 3 and 15. Also, within the NSC staff papers is a memorandum dated July 3, 1954, from Cutler to his two subordinates, James SI and J. Patrick Cohn, explaining how they should handle NSC administrative matters during his absence. One would assume that, if the memorandum to Twining were genuine, they or Cohn would have signed it. When certifying a document under the seal of the National Archives, we attest that the reproduction is a true copy of a document in our custody. We do not authenticate documents or the information contained in a document. The Roswell incident. The National Archives has been unable to locate any documentation among the Project Blue Book records that discuss the 1947 incident in Roswell, New Mexico. In September 8, 1994, the Secretary of the Air Force, Sheila E. Wignall, announced that the United States Air Force had completed its study to locate records that relate to the alleged 1947 UFO incident near Roswell, New Mexico. Pro-UFO researchers claim that an extraterrestrial spacecraft and its alien occupants were recovered near Roswell in July of 1947, and that this fact was kept from the public. At the request of Congressman Stephen H. Schiff, RNM, the General Accounting Office, GAO, initiated an audit in February of 1994 to locate all records relating to the Roswell incident and to determine if such records were properly handled. The GAO audit was completed and the results were published by the Headquarters, U.S. Air Force in 1995. The publication is entitled The Roswell Report, Fact versus Fiction in the New Mexico Desert. This publication may be obtained from most U.S. government depository libraries. The call number is ISBN 0160480223X. The General Accounting Office audit involved many government agencies but focused on the Air Force. To support this audit, the Air Force initiated a systematic search of current Air Force offices as well as numerous archives and records centers which might help explain the incident. Air Force officials also interviewed many persons who may have known about the events. Before the interviews, Secretary Wignall released those persons from any previous security obligations that may have restricted their statements. The Air Force research did not locate or develop any information that the Roswell incident was a UFO event, nor was there any indication of a cover-up by the government. Information obtained through exhaustive records searches and interviews indicated that the materials recovered near Roswell were consistent with a balloon device of the type used in a then-classified project. No records indicated or even hinted at the recovery of alien bodies or extraterrestrial materials. All documentation related to this case is now declassified and the information is in the public domain. Documentation has been turned over to the Office of the Air Force Historian.